Gorka. Wow. Gorka. So Gorka's late to the Durham he was a torpedo put there by the deep state. He's a missile. He's an IED put there by the deep state. The establishment, the elites sent Durham to drag this out because he tricked you guys into thinking it was just the win was right around the corner. And it's not that you were a bunch of gullible assholes. It's that he was just that sneaky. He's just that good. The only man who could pull the wool over Donald Trump's eyes, besides, him standing in the shower and then the wool falls. Never mind.
I tried to follow your report. Mr. Donald Trump Jr. would have called it a nothing burger. Mm-hmm. You got no convictions. You got nothing. It was all set up to hurt the Mueller report, which was correct and was redacted, to hurt the Bidens and to help Trump. And you were a part of it. You have a good reputation. You had a good reputation. That's why the two Democrats supported you. But the longer you hold on to Mr. Barr and this report that Mr. Barr gave you as special counsel, your reputation will be damaged. As everybody's reputation who gets involved with Donald Trump is damaged, he's damaged goods. There's no good dealing with him because you will end up on the bottom of a pyre. I yield back the balance of my time.
Sure. Can we presume the gentleman's undecided on how he feels about the former president?
By the way, people took that as a threat, as opposed to him just going, Donald Trump will throw you on a burning garbage heap because that's how he treats people.
Gentlemen, witness can respond.
Yeah, my concern about my reputation is with the people who I respect and my family and my Lord. And I'm perfectly comfortable with my reputation with them, sir.
Well, who do you respect? Then we're going to need a list. Your family and your Lord, obviously. We don't want to talk to your family. This is not their fight. And I mean, Lord Baphomet, Lord Baal, Lord Tutankhamun. Who? That's none of my business either. So how about just a list of actual human beings that you're talking about, that you're doing this for their respect? And why are you staring at us all like that?
Well said. God bless you.
Well said. God bless you. Which God do you think he was talking about? All right.
Stephen Cohen at the beginning, John Durham in the middle, and Jim Jordan at the end. Greetings.
Oh, it's like a human centipede of bullshit.
Welcome, dear friends, to the post
the loser's living room. I'm Gorka.
Durham testimony show of America First. That was earlier today on Capitol Hill. Yes, he has a voice. He speaks. Took him 5 years to come out in public and say something after he dropped his 300-odd page report.
Yes, you would think that the report would speak for him, but we need to come out and read it to us because I'm not going to read something that doesn't actually fucking go anywhere. Imagine someone handing you a 300-page novel. You think you know what's in it, all the plot points, but you've seen the ending already, and it's a nothing burger.
He was, of course, tagged there by Congressman Steve Cohen, he of the Kentucky Fried Chicken box incident. An individual who said something, most people probably don't know what it is.
Excuse me, you don't use a box. You use the bucket, and the grease works. You know what? I'll tell you guys later. I'll get some crayons. I'll draw you a picture.
Find yourself at the bottom of a pyre. What is a pyre?
It's a fire. It's a burning pile.
Let's see if our team knows. Alex, what's a pyre?
Isn't it where you burn something?
Yeah, a very special kind of something. Eric?
Isn't that where you burn people, as in at the stake?
It's a funeral pyre, yeah.
No, actually. Dum-dum. That's why the modifier funeral is actually put on funeral pyre. If pyre meant funeral pyre, you wouldn't have to say fucking funeral pyre. You could just say pyre. Jesus Christ. Fucking stupid. Why? What? What am I doing? Why do I have to? Oh, I agree. God.
I'm a dope.
How in the world do you not? If you have to modify a word, the word does not mean what you're modifying it with, or you wouldn't have to modify it. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, it's where you burn human people.
As opposed to the other kind?
Human bodies.
Yummy. No, that's a funeral pyre is where you burn a human body. A pyre in general is just a giant burning mound of whatever, refuse largely.
Like in India, the sati practice of burning the living widows of dead men. So what is Stephen Cohen saying?
Yes, that's what Stephen Cohen is saying. He's hoping that John Durham gets burned like Indian widows. That's clearly what he said. Obviously I would frisk him for matches.
You, John Durham, will be found burning alive on a funeral pyre?
Because that's what Trump will do with you. He will cast you out like garbage and set you on fire.
Isn't that a threat against a federal official?
No, it isn't, stupid. It's a warning.
Well, it doesn't matter. He's a Democrat, like Hunter Biden, who can lie on the background form, the check to purchase a handgun.
Hey, asshat, you don't actually believe that background check should exist at all. Fuck off.
And walk away with what? Not even community service? Who can forget to pay $1.2 million worth of taxes in 2018 and
well, I mean, when you're making billions of dollars from the Chinese and you got to convert it from yuan to, I mean, it's easy to miss it, obviously. But tell me why Trump paid more taxes in China than he did in the U.S. I mean, if you're talking about your like taxes a way of exerting control over a government, it seems like he's wanting to have more involvement with the Chinese government than the American government, wouldn't you say?
what? Get a fine? What would happen to you, dear listener, if you lied on a background check? If you failed to pay over $1 million worth of taxes? And
well, if you agreed to pay them back and you negotiated that, and if you negotiated about the gun deal, you would get almost the exact same thing. If you hadn't engaged in any violent crime or any of that stuff, yeah, that's exactly what would happen. Were you going to start bitching that white collar criminals get a slap on the wrist now, Gorka? Gorka, is that where we're going? Knock yourself the fuck out, buddy.
more importantly, what was he earning that money for that he forgot to pay taxes on?
He was an investment broker. He was part of a brokerage that carried money from one source to another, where that money would be taken from people who have it and given to companies that don't, in the idea that it would add to the business's quality of function and that they would earn a profit off that, and that the investors would get their money back plus some dividend, ongoing dividends or interest rates over time, in theory.
What were the services he rendered?
He shepherded the funds, and as somebody who was high profile because his father was vice president and then had been vice president, they knew that the money, when it was in his hands, couldn't just disappear to Russia as it had done many times before.
I'm so curious. What do the Bidens make their tens, their hundreds of millions of dollars on?
Well, Joe Biden made his largely on his book deal, and his wife did too. His wife had a book as well after he was vice president, and it did pretty well. He had an advance, and then they sold a bunch of them, and then they did speaking engagements, and they get paid for the speaking engagements and the like. And that, like, I think the biggest one was at a university. You know, that it made, you know, it stacks up after a while when you've been vice president. That said, Trump is broke.
What about the Durham testimony?
I don't know, super yawn?
He's good with his family and the people he respects and with God.
I don't like that. I'm Gorka. Can we just enjoy this is after Durham's report came out. Think back to this fucking dude giddy with Trump and everybody else about the Durham report finally coming out, and then just understand this is his fucking face when it did. This is the day of the testimony. This is the look on his face. This is not like, fuck you. Oh, the audio's loud? I'm very sorry. I will bring it down a touch. There we go.
Well, maybe he shouldn't be. John Durham had this to say about the people he spoke to in the FBI.
Yeah, that they apologized to him. Yeah, nobody bought it.
Regarding the years-long, quote-unquote, investigation of, quote-unquote, Russian collusion by the Trump campaign and Trump administration. Cut 16.
Well, let me give you some real-life views on that. I have had any number of FBI agents.
Well, how about a number? Give me a number. 3, 5, any number? Tens of thousands? All of them.
Who I've worked with over the years. Some of them are retired.
Okay, so guys that you share values with and are friends of yours. So they wouldn't be rank and file.
Some are still in place, who have come to me and apologized for the manner in which that investigation was undertaken. I take that.
Why? What did they do? What are they apologizing for? Covering for Trump?
Seriously. These are good, hardworking, the majority of people in the FBI, decent human beings who swear under their oaths to abide by the law and the like. And I think that's
the law and the like. Something like the law, but not quite the law.
Exemplifies of the concern here. There were investigative activities undertaken or not undertaken here, which raise real concerns about whether or not the law was followed, the policies in place, the FBI were followed.
Now that's kind of
real concerns by my friends who are friendly with people like Trump and Barr and who thought the standard should be higher for their guy.
Washington Weasel language, but let me translate it into English.
Popcorn, please.
FBI agents involved in covering up the Clinton email investigation, the crimes by Hillary, the destruction of thousands of subpoenaed emails.
Wait a minute. So Durham was friends with the people who actually were engaged in the cover-up. People he served with for years, people that he was close to. That's weird.
And the FBI agents who were involved for years in the Mueller probe, etc., in Operation Crossfire Hurricane, to surveil on and investigate President Trump, his campaign, and his administration, apologized because laws weren't followed. What's Eric? Can you?
No, rules weren't followed.
Help me out. What does it mean, really, when a law isn't followed? What actually happens if a law isn't followed?
I think that's what we call a crime.
Thank you. Yes, give that man the magic decoder ring for.
Okay, hang on a second.
Place who have come to me and apologized for the manner in which that investigation was undertaken. I take that seriously. These are good, hardworking, the majority of people in the FBI.
So the manner under which it was undertaken, not the criminal manner, not the crimes committed in it, just they didn't like how it was handled and they apologized, which is fucking weird, to him. But what does this dickhead draw from it? That they apologized for the manner by which in which it was handled. That means they apologized for crime.
In Operation Crossfire Hurricane, to surveil on and investigate President Trump, his campaign, and his administration, apologized because laws weren't followed. What's Eric? Can you help me out? What does it mean, really, when a law isn't followed? What actually happens if a law isn't followed?
I think that's what we call a crime.
Thank you. Yes, give that man the magic decoder ring for Washington Weasel speak. Not following a law.
Wouldn't he already have it? I mean, he was just decoding what Durham said and you said. Wait, no, he did. He decoded what you said. All right. So you're the Washington Weasel. Gorka, Washington Weasel.
Law isn't like, not following a trail of Reese's Pieces, like in E.T. Not following a law is called committing a crime.
All right. Anyways, you get the picture. This did not turn out the way they thought it would.